Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here, and today we are looking at The Art of George Pérez. Okay, so this book is a gorgeous, huge hardcover collection of The Art of George Pérez. This is coming from IDW. I really love IDW. They have such a great appreciation for comic book art and artists. Thanks mostly to the efforts of Scott Dunbier and Chris Ryall, who put a lot of work and effort into great books like the Artifact series and the artist editions that showcase so many great comic book arts. But let's get into this. This is one of my favorite comic book artists of all time. This is George Pérez. I don't know if it was a copyright issue or what, but he's mostly known for his DC and Marvel Comics work, and that is not the cover. Great shot of him. I love when comic book artists draw themselves. That's George sitting at his desk, surrounded by a bunch of characters he's associated with, although that's difficult to say because he's literally drawn everyone over the years, and he's pretty much associated with everyone. So this came out in 2012, so I can't believe this is that old already. We get to see some pencils. This is when he made a big comeback with Kurt Busiek on the Avengers, and it was just fantastic. This is from the JLA Avengers crossover. I believe this was issue 2. Great wraparound cover that I think George injured himself, like his hand from doing this, and had to take a break, and it slowed up the book, which is okay, because look at this. I mean, oh my god, the detail there. That's ridiculous. This has to be the most characters in one image ever. Although I don't think it is. I think the other image that he, of course, did is in here. Here we have the 70s, Hellcat, Patsy Walker. I love her. I love her backstory, too, how she went from, like, being in Millie the Model to being, like, Hellcat. Like, Werewolf by Night, Logan's Run. George Pérez is one of those artists who, like, just had so much raw power and potential when he hit the scene. Just great storyteller, dynamic page layouts, and he really like honed it. I mean, look at this. This is his early work. Like, just check out the perspective and the amount of characters and just the details in that. You're just not getting comic book art like this anymore. And this is why I'm stuck in the 70s and the 80s when it comes to comic book art. Some great fun stuff. Logan's Run, he did the film adaptation for Marvel. How crazy is that? It's funny because looking through here, one of the big, as an comic art fan, I think it's common to, especially if you're critical like I am, I really hate when a comic artist that I love gets a bad ink job or is paired with an inker that I don't really care for. And it seemed to happen all too often back in the day, which is sad because I assume inkers probably just got their jobs because, based on, as pencilers did, based on, their ability to draw a monthly comic and meet their deadlines and all that jazz. Perez and Austin. Terry Austin inked quite a few covers over Perez in the 70s and 80s. Inked by Joe Sinnott, inked by Terry Austin. I like Joe Sinnott, but very overpowering. I love him on Kirby as perfection. And other than that, it just screams Joe Sinnott when you see it, which is fine if it's not like full pencils. He also did the Marvel Super Special Beatles story. How fun to have that in your... This is very typical George Pérez with the sort of collage and the face cutouts and all that. Very fun. Love that. Love how he worked the stars. It's so funny, and I point this out often, but, today you would not have to draw all those stars thanks to digital coloring and whatnot, digital inks and everything, and bless George Pérez for always putting in every single star and detail that he did. This is also weird to me, that, I'm okay with it, I guess, but you have John Byrne doing interiors. Why do you have George Pérez on the covers? They were sort of not really competitors. Maybe it was like a friendly rivalry, but they both did some X-Men work. They both did Avengers. They both did FF. So I guess they sort of had heterosexuality, National Lampoon. This is from a different era. You can tell. I mean, look at this Asgard perspective. That's crazy. That's just freaking crazy. He did some stuff for National Lampoons too. Who knows how people get there? I just want to point out, inked by Terry Austin. Got their gigs or whatever. That's a sweet booty, Perez. He was definitely had an appreciation for the female form, and I guess the male form too, because his males always looked quite fetching. I know fetch isn't going to happen, but can fetching happen? Winter Carnival. See, it's fun to come across, get books like this and like get to see like art from like maybe unpublished stories or whatever. Some great Green Lantern covers there. I love that. That looks, that would do Gil Kane proud. My favorite GL artist, Gil Kane. Dr. Light. Some fun stuff from, I love when it's in black and white too, because especially the coloring and the printing back in the day, like this is early Teen Titans stuff, and the coloring, not the colorist, but the coloring, like the printing ruined a lot of great comic art. This is from Teen Titans Annual 1, Starfire fighting Blackfire, her sister. Tremendous art. The Trigon, Raven's father. Evil fathers is, I guess evil parents is a recurring theme in comic books, isn't it? Great Justice League covers. Let's see, Elongated Man. I love this lineup of the Justice League so much. I think there was like 75 members. And Zatanna, George designed this. They call it like the crab shell head one, but it's a fun costume. Is there an action figure? They need an action figure. George did this Black Widow story for Marvel Fanfare. I did an episode on Marvel Fanfare if you guys want to check that out. I didn't do the George Perez issues, but there's still time. See, it's funny because like this stuff I wasn't aware that, I mean, this is like in 84, so at the same time as he's doing the Titans, he's doing, you know, this other stuff that I didn't really know about, and I might have sought it out. That's a great Star Trek. Wow, that is so cool. Of all the Star Treks, I think my brother's more of a Star Trek fan than I am. I'm basically original Star Trek and Star Trek The Next Generation, and I started with The Next Generation. Here we go to his career highlight of Crisis on Infinite Earths with his Titans co-collaborator Marv Wolfman, where they decided to fix the DC universe by wiping everything out and rebooting it. And perhaps that was the beginning of the end. Maybe that was the beginning of all of DC's continuity problems. These were little strips along the bottom of the page, and that just had his penciled art, which was kind of cool because it wasn't common to publish from art from pencils back in the day. They really couldn't do it. But as time moved on and technology advanced, these are some pages from History of the DC Universe, inked by Carl Kessel, who is a fantastic inker and a great writer too. Teen Titans, love this page there. Wonder Woman. Perez did my favorite Wonder Woman. I mean, so Perez took over or rebooted Wonder Woman after the Crisis on Infinite Earths that, you know, started the whole universe over again. And he did such a great job. I think that Patty Jenkins really pays a lot of homage to the stuff that he does, and he is the master, especially when it comes to, the 90s. We're getting into the 90s. Was that scary? As scary for Perez as it was for everyone else. There's that Troya costume. I mean, his costumes were so crazy with detail. I mean, I would be so mad if I had to draw that after him. who would want to follow George Pérez on anything? So he went to Marvel, unprecedented, to do this Infinity Gauntlet. Sound familiar? Story. I think he did the first 2.5 issues and got torqued off in laughter. Some crazy crap, I don't know. Then Ron Lim took over. And it just wasn't the same without George Pérez. I mean, like I said, tough act to follow. Future Imperfect. This is a great book by Peter David and George Pérez of the story of the Hulk in the future. And this is like the trophy room of the Maestro, who the Hulk becomes, like an evil, pissed off Hulk. And there's just so many great little nuggets throughout here. If you take the time to look through, you got Thor's hammer, Doctor Strange's cloak, a few different Iron Man heads and chest pieces, Cyclops visor, a hand holding a part of Doctor Doom's mask, which the Black Knight's mask, Thor's helmet, Nova, Magneto, Captain America. I mean, this shows how screwed up, and this is dedicated to someone. So someone owns this original art, and they are one lucky son of a gun. Because George Pérez art is fantastic. I really regret never getting like a commission from him or something. This is from Marvel's swimsuit special, the much lamented swimsuit special. But hey, I got it back in the day. What did I know, right? And then he did work for Malibu in the 90s, which beautiful art. Of course, I bought it, but I mean, come on. Don't you want to see George Pérez draw the X-Men or the Avengers or the Teen Titans, most notably the Teen Titans? That's when I fell in love with George Pérez, as many people did. And it's weird, though, because I imagine there's some people who, you know, probably discovered George on the Avengers and were all, wow, I have so much great old art to find. This is Sax and Violins, the Epic, and Epic was like Marvel's adult line of comics, or creator-owned or whatever. He did with Peter David, so they were a crime-fighting duo, Sax and Violins. I'm sure you get the play on words there. Some fun art. The coloring is a very crazy 90s sort of airbrushy looking. The detail, insurmountable detail. Little nudity there for your afternoon. So, I mean, that was a fun book. It was crazy. 4-issue limited series. Wow, this is like an Avengers like commemorative poster that George did a few great posters. The Wonder Woman poster. I wish I owned that. It's really hard to come by. They should be reissuing all these posters. iBots. Who could forget that, right? Me, Zorro, Topps. So in the 90s, you know, some of the... This is George's creator-owned book, Crimson Plague, which is about a woman with toxic, tainted, poisonous blood. And he really made his work hard on himself because he drew a lot of people he knew, friends, family, acquaintances, into the art. And I think that was probably a lot to manage. So here's when he did the Avengers. This is probably what brought the Avengers back to prominence, I think. You know, comic book characters and heroes have their ups and downs, their ebbs and tides, and their lulls, and their great double-page spread there. I mean, George Pérez was born to draw superheroes. Cool Ultron cover there. I mean, a lot of this stuff that you're seeing in the movies, I think, is coming from him and Kurt Busiek's run on the Avengers. Firestar and, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I forgot, but they should put them in the movie. The Zeros. What do they call that anyway? The Zzz. Crimson Plague, back again. So, I don't know. For my money, I'd rather have Perez like on a team book and superheroes, but that's just me. I mean, I always enjoy his art. And then he went to CrossGen, which was a big comic book company that just some millionaire created, and they're all like sword and sorcery kind of fantasy books, and I don't know, they went out of business, so I don't know how well that genre works these days. I mean, I guess it works fantastic in the movies, so why not in comics? Great shot of the Avengers there in the JLA. This is, I think this is a promo from when they were teasing. Finally, George was supposed to do a JLA Avengers crossover in the 80s. Did like 20 pages because of editorial. It got quashed, and then eventually came back, and history, and that's history. Or what do they say? Yeah, that's history. That's so cool. Superman holding Thor's hammer and Captain America's shield at the same time. Some rando characters that I don't know who they are. But still, hey, it's George Pérez. Beautiful artwork, so we're not going to complain. I mean, this book is huge. Great shot of Red Sonja there. I mean, you're handed a Red Sonja cover in your George Perez. Of course, you're going to draw a beautiful Red Sonja, but you're also going to draw 900 million bricks and shadows and skulls and chains because, well, you're George Perez. Lady Death. Never really clicked with that character. Nothing wrong with her, I guess. She was a symptom of the 90s and the bad girl phase. Great shot of George Perez. This is from the cover of his Storyteller book, which I also have. Maybe I'll cover that too. George Perez drawing Archie. It's always fun to see people like George Perez draw characters like Archie because, I mean, it looks just like Archie, but I love that the body is very George Perez. Some fun, just, I don't know what this is. Lil Abner. How do you like that? Doesn't get more old school than that, does it? The George Perez, forgive me, I always do that. I'm so white from Ohio, but he was an actor, and he did a lot of the quote-unquote playbills for the plays he was in. How fun is that? I mean, to be able to say you saw George Perez on stage, I mean, not many people can say that. I haven't, but I would have loved to have. Joseph in the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and what an amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat it is. So that's fun. Sweeney Todd. Clue the musical? I didn't know there was a Clue musical. Who knew? Well, I guess everybody but me. Lil Abner, I don't really know what this is coming from, but still a lot of fun. You know, like the computer coloring and stuff sometimes doesn't work on old school classic comic book artists. I mean, I'd rather have just the inked lips there, to be honest with you. Babes in Toyland, Macbeth. Isn't it fun to get to Holy Cannoli? I mean, come on. Noises Off is a really good movie with Christopher Reeve's Superman. You should find that if you haven't seen it. It's a wacky comedy. Who is that? It looks like Black Canary, of course, with their signature fishnets and blonde hair. One of my favorite characters. These look like wrestling. Sisterhood of Superheroes video. I don't know what that's about, but hey, fun Perez art, right? Oh, she's pretty. I like that outfit. Daisy please tell me, is her name Daisy Chain? Because there's daisies and then there's chains. Power Woman. And she's got the superhero.com on her outfit. Isn't that awful? Like, so they don't really have costumes and stuff for superheroes anymore, but if they did, like if Superman were invented today, would it be like @ and then the symbol, or hashtag spider? Like, ugh, right? Sorry to be an old man. Snow White. Some fun Perez art. Well, this is a big, gorgeous book, and there's the man himself. such a great guy. If you've ever had the chance to meet him, he's so nice, and he just has such unbridled enthusiasm for comic books. So I was happy to share this George Pérez, Art of George Pérez book from IDW with you today. And please hit subscribe, and please hit like, and do all the good things you need to do. And I will talk to you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye.